I have always wanted to slay the Lich King. Ever since I was a kid, too stupid to comprehend the endgame of World of Warcraft. Ever since I made my first character way back when in 2007. But years later, there I stood in 2024 at the ingresses of the frozen fortress of Frost and Undeath, the Icecrown Citadel, at the threshold of my dream. One would think that the journey to this tumultuous final raid was the hard part. All the leveling, dungeons, drama, snails, the backstabbing, the Faralina players. Surely it can't get any worse, right? One would assume that the worst has passed, that the hardest challenges have been vanquished, that the path that laid ahead of this undead fool at the doorway of Arthas' malevolent, iniquitous citadel was facile and tranquil. It's what I assumed at least. But little did I know, the most strikingly strenuous challenges were yet to come. This is the story of how I became Koshchar the Kingslayer. Greetings, heretics, and welcome to the final episode. Last time, I achieved max level, obtained the Nether Drakes, and became a 5.7k gear score god with pyromanic tendencies, and 100,000 gold under my belt. From being the raddest skeleton jester out there, seriously, I'm more wicked than a kickflip at a witch trial. And though I burnt out and quit right at the doorway of Icecrown Citadel, after finding a stupid little plastic Frostmourne that I made years ago, I made a promise to my younger self that I would complete this quest of slaying Arthas the Lich King and become the Kingslayer. To do such a feat, however, I had to conquer Icecrown Citadel, the immense final raid of Wrath of the Lich King, a malevolent fortress filled with 12 intense bosses. And way up there at the tippity top of Warcraft's peak sat the final boss himself, Arthas the Lich King. And I had to do all of this before Cataclysm Classic came out, which would make the Kingslayer title sorta obsolete. But to reach said peak, we've got a bit of a climb to do. How does one even get into a group for Icecrown Citadel? At the end of the expansion, when most people have already done it, quit, and moved on. Oh, you know, you just get your 24 fully geared speedrunning buddies who all know the fights and mechanics together and knock it out in a single night. Easy squeezy lemon peasy, right?
No!
Let me tell you something about World of Warcraft. You either need to be in a raiding guild, have friends, or be Jeffrey fucking Bezos. And despite all my swag, I have no king to dance for, yet I still wear the motley. In other words, I apply to none of the aforementioned. So let's break it down a bit, contextual style. On the chronological timeline of events, we didn't yet know when Cataclysm Classic was going to come out. Players speculated that it would be around May, so I set Cataclysm Classic's supposed release in May as my deadline. However, I yearned to clear ICC sometime in February. Spoiler alert, I didn't fucking do it. Public groups always fall apart at the Plague Wing, and I realized that most classic WoW players would not survive an auto parts shop because they are bafflingly terrified of mechanics. Ooh. On top of that, my guild, has a Hordon, abruptly shattered overnight, which was then followed up by so many other shit experiences with trying to get into raid groups that I can't even get into, because if I did, we would be here for like 2 hours talking about how hard it is to get into a fucking group when even GDKPs are shutting me down on the basis of being a mage. Every week I ended up in Icecrown Citadel, and every week ended in failure. A loop of doing the same 4 bosses over and over again, only to disband when the raid actually starts. And the only thing that I got out of these lamentable test runs was a fucking bow. I'm a mage, I can't even use this shit. God, I really am cursed. It was not looking good, and the clock was ticking. Classic WoW is a Faustian vicissitude, but I was not going to let that stop me. I'm going to hell anyways when I die, and Classic WoW is essentially a free subscription-based trial of the 7th circle of hell. So if I succeed in my quest or not, I'm gonna benefit. But the thing is, I actually wanted to succeed. However, the player base were dropping like flies. Guilds disappeared left and right. GDKPs didn't want me because they already had tons of mages. Cringe. And pugs were as fun and effective as stapling unfinished crossword puzzles to my taint. My goal was becoming harder and harder by the day, and Cataclysm Classic only loomed closer and closer. Yeah, it's really not looking good. In March, however, word caught the wind that there was one guild running 25-man Icecrown Citadel raids multiple times per week, consistently and professionally. They mostly did GDKPs and made hundreds of thousands, sometimes up to millions of gold in the process. This was a well-oiled machine. This guild was, in many ways, sort of like the MMO equivalent of the cartel. And with every other guild falling apart, everyone was turning to them and them alone to attempt to get a clear. Because of the abundance of people signing up for raids with this guild, actual guild members took priority over any other person attempting to sign up for a raid spot. So, to beat my competition, I had to join the cartel, although there was a massive barrier of entry that existed between this guild and me. They were intense. They were serious, they were sweaty, they were skilled, and played the game like it was their job, and they expected nothing short than the best from anyone who joined, and they were known as Synergy.
If you're serious, like, if you want to actually clear Icecrown Citadel before Cataclysm, then you have to join Synergy.
Knowing this to be true, I ventured out to become a member of Synergy. I sought this guild out with no plan in mind, but I shit you not, when I opened the game to look for a Synergy member to talk to, my computer fucking passed away. Blah blah blah. My fiance and I got a new PC, and it arrived in, drumroll please, mid-April. Yeah, it is not looking good. Something else that arrived in mid-April was the release date of Cataclysm Classic. My deadline was finally given a clear date, April 30th. Oh god, this isn't gonna happen. I had 2 weeks to join the Cyber Cartel, Synergy, to prove myself, get a raid spot, clear all 12 bosses and all encounters to beat Icecrown Citadel, get the Kingslayer title, all whilst fucking everybody else on the server is trying to get into a group with them. And then I have to live to tell the tale. Or I guess be undead to tell the... you get it. One question. How the fuck do you join a cyber cartel? The answer is an interview. Yeah, and it's easier. My last guild fell apart really quickly. Has a horde on. They wanted to raid. People started raiding, and then it just fell apart really fast. So now I don't have a guild. Like, I'm excited for Cataclysm Classic to come out. I know I'm probably in the minority for that, but I want to have like an actual guild.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. Like, I'm just gonna let you know, this is what I tell everyone, not just you. Like, if you're like, you know, it's a GDKP, but GDKPs are also performance based. If you're like, the advantage of GDKP is if someone's really bad and they perform bad, like they're gonna get penalized for gold or not come next week. Because I'm not gonna, you know, hold up 24 other players if someone's just constantly wiping their raid or not getting it. You know.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's you. I'm just saying like that's the expectation. Again, I'm just setting expectations. I don't want to like, you know, scare you away, but like, you know, we're pretty casual to like, you know, semi-serious, and that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, that sounds great. And then
I have a question for you though.
Yeah.
What's with your trinket?
What trinket?
Needle encrusted scorpion.
I just have that because the other one that I had was a PvP trinket.
Okay, I'm just asking. There's probably a real reason, because it's...
yeah, the other one that I had was for, like, resilience, because, like...
Okay, I get you. I'm just asking. There's probably a reason behind that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with it. Yeah, I mean, welcome aboard. I have to type your weird-ass name in. Hold on.
Yeah, sorry about the O.
I hate everyone with fucking weird-ass symbols and shit.
Though I was intimidated and never went into an interview for a WoW guild before, I bit the hook and got a spot in Synergy. I was the 6th person to sign up for the closest raid, a 25-man heroic Icecrown Citadel, which was happening on Thursday, April 25th. Wow, 5 days before Cataclysm comes out. But as more and more raid signups showed up, I started to worry and wonder why the fuck were so many people signing up for this raid. Turns out because this was the final one before Cataclysm. In other words, if I fuck this up, if I get kicked or if I underperform, I'm done. After all the shitty pugs, the guilds collapsing, the computers dying, I had but one sliver of a chance remaining, and that sliver of a chance was going into a raid I've never done on its hardest difficulty with a serious sweaty guild and perform like this game is my fucking job. I would say wish me luck, but as luck would have it, Lady Luck was not on my side. You would not believe my gut-wrenching disbelief when I woke up a week later on April 25th, the day of the raid, and found that my name was not on the raid roster. I was kicked from the raid before it even started, but there were 2 spots empty, so I decided to speak to the manager. Yo, what's poppin'?
Yo, sorry, like I'm not really good at responding and I saw your message, but we're like in the middle of PvP. I'm not the one that does the rosters. I have multiple officers that do that for me. A couple of things need to happen. Oh, it's just, they're fucking following us. You wanna message the officers to let them know you're aware. 1 million people want to get in, right? Like there's 50 to 80 people on your side, only 25 spots. So the combination, do we know you? Are you consistent? Being in the guild doesn't guarantee. Oh shit, they're coming. It's a combination of, you know, are you capable? Are you geared? Your logs, flashing gold definitely helps as well. All those things, and also letting people know, because if you just sign up, like they don't, like, let's be real, they don't know who you are. I don't remember, and like there's 1 million people that sign up, so I don't know if that helps. There's a core. Oh shit, come back. Let me pick me up, and then get up there. Fuck. Oh fuck, they're coming. Where do you jump? Did that kind of answer your question, Fisher?
Yeah, that answered it. Gold flash, that's like when I just take a screenshot of my gold and then like, what do I like message it to one of the officers or something when I sign up?
Yeah, I mean, people want to come all the time. They don't have any gold. Like they can't buy anything. Like you're not useful to the raid. But without talking to someone, like you're just a name. Oh, they're coming.
All right, that makes sense. I'll let you guys get back to the Siege of Normandy or whatever you're doing. A crushing defeat. With no logs to show, barely passable gear, and a hope that once shone brighter than the sun above, I lamented onto deaf ears, for I felt the death rattle of my dream soothe me back to the grave. They had no idea who I was, so why would they let me into their last raid of Wrath of the Lich King Classic? I was defeated. My dream was dead. Until I remembered all my cryptocurrency. It's a skeleton joke. I felt the enormous weight of all the money I made from skeleton puns, and it dawned on me how one actually joins a cyber cartel. You join it much like one would join a real cartel, by shutting the fuck up and letting your money speak for you. So I dropped a message in the sign-up channel, which you're not supposed to do. What do you have? The Guildmaster Preachy asked. Boom! I won the single-player dick measuring contest. Instantly after letting the Guildmaster Preachy know that I'm sort of swagged out in so much dough that I may get a yeast infection, I got a mysterious invite to a group in-game. I was then summoned to Westfall, and my confusion evaporated quicker than acetone. This was my initiation. They want to see me killed. They want to make sure I'm legit. In an instant, I buffed the party up, and we rode out across wind-torn fields towards the lush green forests of Elwyn. It became evident in no time at all that Synergy was leading a raid to murder the king of the Alliance, and I was right there alongside them. The Alliance's defense was laughable, dire, and abundantly pathetic, which is to be expected. This isn't at everyone on Alliance side. If you went one-on-one with the Lorax or the Midas Hand or anything like that, you would learn really fast why you're nobody's hero. If a pawn could play chess, you would be a pawn's pawn in a pawn shop. I've seen dudes in Synergy one-shot Alliance players mid-flight. It's no surprise that their capital city's defenses were limp and tragic like a dead turtle's cock. But with King Varian Rin slaughtered and served for fucking brunch, we decided it wasn't enough. Like primal fucking animals, we took the tram to the dwarven capital of Ironforge, cradled in the snowy mountains of Dunmorrow, and massacred countless Short Kings, followed by the Short King of Short Kings, King Magni Bronzebeard himself. In no time at all, the small person was dead, and I had blood on my hands. And it felt great! Right after my genocidal blood-filled initiation to the cyber cartel, Preachy whispered me that she would get me into the raid tonight, followed by a simple welcome to the guild. You've gotta hand it to him. Bringing me by for some good old-fashioned world PvP to get accustomed to being a Kingslayer before the title actually drops is one hell of a way to get to know a group of people. Once you've fucked with a raw vibe and committed radical regicide, there's no going back. You're gang for life. And surely enough, that night, after my bloody initiation, I was invited into the final raid group that would head into those frozen halls. 25-man heroic Ice Crown Citadel. Things were actually looking good, but know this. If this raid somehow fails, or if I get kicked or removed for any reason, I'm locked out of this raid. So I can't get invited into another group. Not that there are any. I'll be done. Synergy isn't doing any more raids after this one tonight, and Cataclysm comes out in 5 days. Like, I know people like to dramatize things for the camera or whatever, but this is actually my last chance. They're expecting a top performing mage, but they're gonna get me. And I've never done Icecrown Citadel past the first 4 bosses, and I sure as hell have not done them on Heroic. And I've somehow ended up in a 25-man Heroic Icecrown Citadel raid. Dude, I might be fucked out of luck here, but those stakes were high. My cash stack was higher. And thus, with a benzo popped, I mounted my Nether Drake and flew to the Frozen Citadel. One final time. Upon arrival to the Citadel, there was this sort of overwhelming anxiousness that took a hold of me. Yeah, on the surface, I was gonna face the Jailer of the Damned and all of his misfit godlike besties in his castle made out of Cthulhu blood, but that's par for the course at this point. You see, all the fools and otherwise that joined me today in this Saronite Citadel had gear scores soaring far and above 6,000. When looking face to face with the numerical differences in our skill, it was hard not to realize that I am a feeble plankton who has hopped from my little glass of water to an ocean out of Lovecraft's wet nightmare. But regardless, I joined the Discord voice chat to get this road on the show. Yo, what's poppin'?
Hello.
Strong healer would be very good.
I go find one.
Well, that was okay.
He said.
Okay, you tell me what you want to do, you shuck.
I don't give a fuck.
Fallen's just a fucking nasync. Well, you just fucking got a grudge. Chip on his fucking shoulder. Crybaby bitch.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh, you guys are
Alright.
hostile. Somebody needs to go jerk off, dude. Bounce off some booty cheeks.
Oh my goodness.
It seemed I joined on a day where no one had properly de-stressed, which, to be copiously candid with you, only raised the stakes in my mind. To be absolutely frank with you, I felt like I was in the movie Whiplash.
Why do you suppose I just hurled a chair at your head?
Kosher? I'm gonna get bitched around, and the worst part is I deserve it. Oh shit, we're pulling.
Don't fucking do that ready check shit. Just go.
Compared to all the shit runs I unfortunately experienced in the weeks leading up to the momentous occasion that is today, clearing the trash up to Lord Maragar felt like I was surrounded by 20-something fucking hardened soldiers with the power of the goddamn sun, searing our way through the opioid epidemic's greatest champions. We were nimble, efficient, effective, and fucking deadly. Though, there were skeletons of skeletons, it's like a joke. They were no match for our unrivaled bullshit, and fell victim to our crusade of whimsy. Then it was on to the first boss himself. The karma I had to face after gaining gold the way that I did. The Skeleton King, Lord Maragar. Fittingly enough, Lord Maragar in the lore is a dude that was just stitched up together by the Lich King out of bones of players who attempted to raid Icecrown Citadel in the past but failed. He is said to be constructed of the bones of 1,000 fallen champions, which just might explain how fucking easy he is. If some numbskull, or dare I say it, knucklehead, can't get this far into the raid, then yeah, I say you should be Frankenstein into a fucking blue boner. Quickest, fastest way to get a boner. His mechanics are fittingly brain-dead nonsense. Basically, every few seconds, he will impale multiple random players with bone spikes from the bone ground, and you gotta get rid of them, or people who are impaled fucking die. He also shoots loads in random people's directions. If you're wondering, how does he shoot loads without genitalia? Then I have a feeling that no matter how often you raised your hand, the teacher never picked on you. But he leaves behind this blue fire after all of his love shots, and if you stand in it, you will die. Then after a bit, he'll do the spin, span, spun, time to have some fun type of move where he goes all over the place, spinning around, doing damage to anyone who touches him, and placing massive X's on the floor made out of blue fire. All while he's impaling random players with bone spikes. Or, to simplify it, don't get hit by him when he's spinning, don't stand in the fire, and kill the fucking bone spikes. At this point, Lord Maragar is easier than giving up. This guy isn't a fucking problem, but now he is dead. Deader He's deader than he was before. He's vanquished. After facing off against the physical manifestation of all of my skeleton puns who materialized to punish me. It's like a joke. We moved onward to the second boss, Lady Death Whisper, who really should be renamed since she has done no whispering and instead has a fucking monologue that goes on effectively until you kill her. Let's get into that. Ooh, Lady Death Whisper is the successor of the legendary Lich Kel'Thuzad. She became the leader of the Cult of the Damned. While it sounds like the type of heavy metal band that has like 20 songs but only one good lyric, it is surprisingly not that. But since this cult of living members who serve the Lich King never actually succeed in their immensely grand plans to take over the world, one could say that they radiate the same type of energy. Members of the Cult of the Damned yearn for undeath, but they treat it as something sacred that one must earn. This resonates in the fight for Lady Death Whisper, as if you really want to die on this fight, you have to really fucking earn it, as in you have to try to die. I tested it out. Besides from the soliloquy of agony, a lot of this fight is revolved around killing ads. You see, she's broken up into two phases. That wizard dick made her bipolar. The first phase has her sitting still, being weird, talking too much, and maintaining a bubble around herself. And we are tasked with bursting Bubble Buddy and massacring the ads that spawn from either side. In other words, hit the right fucking guys. When they're dead, it's time to slap the shit out of the bubble. And once you've hitten the bubble enough, Lady Death Whisper becomes the average React streamer the moment that they are fairly criticized, in that she will become enraged and call upon her league of strange, bony cultists to engage you in battle. Horrifying. She will also randomly mind control members of the raid party, turning them into enemies. Because it's classic WoW. She will be shooting out constant ice bolt barrages and spawn ghosts on the ground that chase random people for shits and giggles. And if they touch you, they
about to bomb this whole motherfucking plane.
Then there's like 2 or 3 other random fucking things that she does. Don't worry about it. This is not a guide. Get over my swag. Despite many sources saying that this is one of the harder encounters in Icecrown Citadel, she is most definitely not that. However, some things cannot be avoided, as before Lady Death Whisper could die, she hit me with her ultimate jutsu. That is, my homie fucking Rylov got real shit brainwashed. I'm talking dead-ass mind-controlled and ripped their famous catchphrase, "It is time to eat some dick." And some dick I ate, as they killed half the raid in one foul attack. Yeah, but they do be pumping though. As I lamented in the liminal space between states of being, Lady Death Whisper was massacred, squandered, vanquished. Need I say it? She has passed away. It is time to eat some dick. I absolutely agree. Y'all cultists ain't shit. This boss so mid that the only thing that could kill me was a real shit mind-controlled warrior in our own group. Though the Fallen were not the only ones to drop, as a cloth belt dropped, which a number of people wanted. But if I wanted to secure myself in this group, I had to drop the cash real fucking quick. So without even looking at the stats on the item, I slammed my bid down for the belt. 8,000 gold. Despite the competition, the auction fell silent, and I won the belt. Let it be known, I wasn't gonna let that shit fly, though this next boss certainly was gonna fly because it's in the air. I have a whole joke about that. So alright, so in this one, the airships, they go into the sky, and then there's people on the cannons, and they go pew, pew, and they shoot the fucking other ship, and you like hop back and forth and kill ads, and then the guys are like, "Oh no, get off me ship!" And then, but you can't, you don't do that. So you kill a mage, and then there's ads, and you shoot the ship, and then the cannons, and then thanks for watching. Hey yo, put a pin in this, pause it. Shout out Frank! You did it! The airship fight is the most dull and deadening event. I would rather watch Dragonflight cutscenes.
It was about coming together as a family.
Once the SS King shit a fuck mountain docks at the upper reaches of Icecrown Citadel, we are instantly faced with the 4th boss, Dranosh Saurfang. Son of the legendary Varrock Saurfang, Dranosh Saurfang led the Horde's attacks against the Lich King, though he was defeated in the famous Battle of Angrathar, the Wrathgate, slain by Arthas himself, and brought back to life, legally changed his name to Deathbringer Saurfang, and now that he's his little plague puppet, Arthas puts him on display to guard one of the many gates to the upper reaches of Icecrown Citadel, while Arthas sits around all day doing that. Also, you gotta make Deathboy Sourfang's dad kill him, but fuck it, we get loot, so... Deathboy's mechanics are interesting. If you want to know more, I suggest watching a fucking guide. Basically, spread out, mobs will spawn, kill them, debuffs happen, deal with it. There's a stacking thing and a dot and blood stuff, and the longer he's alive, the more damage he does, and the faster he attacks. Oh, and if somebody dies, it heals him for 20% health and empowers him, so pretty please murder him, don't die, do it in an orderly fashion, marching band if you could. Oh yeah, and do a cartwheel while you're fucking at it. Thanks. The main thing to really focus on when you're raiding with a streamlined and efficient cartel, however, is killing the blood beasts that spawn. Literally just stick to that. Everything else is out of my hands. They got that shit covered. Yet, somehow, when people in this raid were told multiple times to kill the blood beast, I found that I was like one of the only people doing this.
Like there's literal classes in this raid.
Hey, there's me.
Just tab and hit 2 abilities and do like 70k damage per net. I'd like to just point out that a Affliction Warlock was the top damage on Blood Beast. You should all consider uninstalling the fucking game if that's the case.
Sound advice. Though, despite the Blood Beast situation, I did not uninstall the game, since I am not a 25-year-old virgin holy paladin with level 50 trinkets equipped at 80, prioritizing strength and cloth gear. He is still single, by the way, I wonder why, but rather I'm a god-pumping fire mage with cosmic importance to this mortal realm. And because of this, Sourfang just another lich loser who dusts the bite, bitch? 5 times 5 equals 25? The fuck out of here.
Hey guys.
With Sourfang defeated, and his father sobbing like, Jesus, get over it, we progressed inwards to one of the 3 wings of Icecrown Citadel, named for my favorite horseman of the apocalypse, beside Tiny Violin. This is my preferred place to party with Pestilence, as it is the Plague Wing. Oh, whoa! A plague your way will brighten my day. The Plague Wing is comprised of 3 bosses, the Abomination Twins, Festergut and Rotface, and their abnormally hilarious creator, Professor Putricide, my favorite character in Warcraft. More on him in a sec. First, we gotta show their pet dogs that we the type of guild to open carry to the kennel. And with the K9's K-Ild, we march our way into Festergut's Fuckfest. Guys really just live like this and see nothing wrong with it. Festergut is pretty trivial. You gotta kill him in 5 minutes, otherwise everyone, believe it or not, dies. Essentially, we all take ticking damage because we're sick as fuck. Everyone needs to spread out. Festergut is inhaling his fumes and getting stronger. Weirdo. And every like 30 seconds, 3 random players will be selected and have a gas spore put upon their head. The 3 spore guys need to spread out, as spores tend to do. Then everyone else needs to run to one of these spores and get hit by an explosion that gives you a dot that gives you a stacking buff called inoculated, blah blah. You get it. You do this 3 times and then boom, now you're immune to this thing called the Blight. What's the Blight? Good question. It's when Festergut inhales a bunch of this shit and then has a fucking asthma attack and pukes out lethal gas into the entire room, and anyone who doesn't have 3 stacks of inoculated gets fucking pwned. If you don't have 3 stacks, then, well, you gotta end up being fluent in cough speak like this guy. Side effect of knowing the forbidden cough speak is death, which is exactly why we murdered Festergut. Great job, guys. I parsed wildly. Now let's go kill his brother. And wow, nobody turned the valve. Wow, Rotface. Homeboy's feeling a little sickly, feeling a bit feverish. Let it be known that we could not care less. I will gun down a sick child if it means I'll get some loot for it. Rotface's mechanics are ill nasty, yo. He spawns pools of pestilence around the room, which you gotta avoid like the plague, and also spawns a green slime. The green slime has to be kited around the room, and anytime somebody else gets a green slime on their ass, they need to merge it with the first one, which makes it bigger and bigger and bigger until it pops like a bubble at a balloon animal orgy, which in turn makes a bunch of goo get splattered everywhere that you gotta dodge, also like an experience at a balloon animal orgy, in theory. Beside all that, just hit the boss and avoid getting hit by things and move around and avoid dying. I'll have you know I treat my life like a medical roguelike. I'd be making Advil edibles and Benadryl mountain mix. You never know what you're gonna get, if it's gonna be a power-up or a debuff, but this set me up for the Plague Wing pretty well, I'd say. I'm medicated in a way nobody else is, and no illness can get through to me since I'm already so fucking ill! And now Rotface is dead, which cued in his creator, Professor Putricide, to mourn for him.
Terrible news, everyone. Rotface is dead. You were always my favorite. Next to Vestergut.
Oh, God, I love this guy. Alright, buff up, let's kill him. Good old PP. Good news, everyone! It's on to the best character in Warcraft, the guy that invented sex. I mean, come on, he is objectively the funniest WoW boss in history. He is perfecting a plague to end all life on Azeroth, as suggested by the Lord's good news. But then he turns around and gives us a banger line like,
Good news, everyone. Just an ordinary gas cloud. But watch out, because that's no ordinary gas cloud.
I love this dude. Oh, what's that? What's his lore? That's a good question. I got nothing. Anyways, he has a fuckload of mechanics spread out across 3 phases, but I am not reading that. He is claimed to be the second hardest encounter in Icecrown Citadel, right behind the Lich King himself. Do shit, dodge shit, hit shit, yeah.
taking her shit while I'm sucking a bitch's dick.
Professor got a lot up his sleeve, but to combat that, one of our party members must voluntarily turn himself into a Chernobyl mutation to deal with most of it. So in turn, all I gotta do is stand by and listen to the raid leader, which is absolutely bonkers, because I seem to be the only person listening to the raid leader. Hey guys, why am I the only one listening to the raid leader?
Does anyone have, like, smoke flares?
This is actually fucking painful.
Do this.
If everybody stayed at the table and just DPS the shit, it would be dead.
Because, like, I actually want to scream at people in this raid. I'm literally going to make a line. And if you were ever past the line, you're out. It's dodgeball, okay?
Like, this is the last week before pre-patch. We should know what we're doing here. Unless you're kosher, which we know doesn't know the fights, right? That guy gets a pass, and I don't think he's making mistakes.
I've been in the hills, fucking dudes.
I see this cool outline I'm making with smoke flare. There's your visual aid. If you go to the outside of the room, like if you're fucking like, oh, get this red on me, I'm gonna fucking run over here in the corner. You're wrong.
And then
Can you do that again? That was good.
No. Okay. We're gaming.
You should only res people who died inside the line. I'm following mechanics. Probably. And in time, we massacre the oozes. We slaughter the slimes. We deliver death unto the blights. And we bring retribution to class. The bell does not dismiss you, Professor. Motherfucker, I do! Trauma has dropped. Think I'll buy this one for 20k. Could be Biss and Kata. With the Professor dead, the Plague Wing was conquered. And it was on to what we would call the Blutflügel if we lost World War II. The Blood Wing has a lot of blood and sickness, and thus it's easy to feel a number of ways. A, negative, B, positive, or C, what I did there? The Vampire Wing is comprised of 2 bosses, the Council of Balls and the Blood Milf. The goal is to head upwards through the Sanguine halls as many sad saps struck with vampirism shout out at you, "You bastard!" and make your way to the royal fuckery going on up top. As we massacre these vampires, I want to take a second and ask you something. Dear viewer, do you ever think vampires have a lack of vitamin D from no exposure to sunlight and that's why they have to drink blood? No, you just don't think about that at all. Yeah, it's probably because you're always thinking about yourself. Anyways, onwards to the 8th boss. You guys ever kiss a guy on the mouth? Can I get a hell yeah? The funny thing about these guys is that they're sort of like the average Discord user in that they show you their balls without your permission, and I don't like that very much. Seriously, 90% of this fight is hitting balls and ensuring they don't hit the ground, as the 3 juggle between being attackable or not. They have mechanics, but I'm gonna pretend like you know them and move on. Lore-wise, these guys are goofy Sandlane Prince fucks, as in they are all royal failures. Seriously, even Prince Mishkin would look at these guys and go, oh my, there is no beauty in these souls at all. All 3 of these guys were NPCs that were killed during leveling, then brought back to undead life by Arthas for shits and giggles. They aren't even final bosses of their respected dungeons, and one of them wasn't even good enough to be in a dungeon. They have no importance. These guys were failures from day one. Why did Arthas even want them to come back? Regardless, balls were bouncing, fire was flinging, which ended my life, and I swore they kept saying, "You bastard!" Maybe that was just the wind. Anyways, in due time, the poor princely pussies were drowned in vicious entropy, and nothing of value was lost. Except for me. Now it's on to Blood MILF Lanathel. Blood Queen Lanathel has probably the most fun and interesting set of mechanics in the entire raid. Basically, the highest DPS gets bitten, kinky, turning them into a vampire. This increases their DPS by a fuck ton, but they only have a minute to use this buff until they become mind controlled. Classic WoW. What they have to do is pass the vampire bite onto another player. Preferably, you would pass the buff onto the second highest DPS and then rinse and repeat, as the hot vampire lady occasionally floats to the sky and makes everyone freak the fuck out, as well as setting random people on fire, you know, as you do. Keeping this order in mind, everyone needs to become a vampire eventually, and through that and that alone will you be able to defeat her. So like any streamlined and functioning guild, this raid had a bite order prepared. This let the group know who would be the first to be bitten, the second, so on and so forth. But to ensure the order was met, no one could DPS the boss, as the highest DPS always gets bit first, and they intended it a certain way, so the order was to stand still until the first bite went out. I took this as my chance to go take a piss, but things ended up getting a bit rowdy in my disappearance.
Zombie, what are you doing? Zombie mage, you lost your cut. Zombie, you are biting Zolaris first. If you don't do it, I'm just gonna kick you out of the raid. Zombie, do you understand? I need something in chat. Fucking stop DPSing, put a 1 if you understand what I just said.
Well, we have no bites.
We have to wipe now. If you want to
Wipe it, I'm taking him out of the raid. I don't give a fuck.
That was great, dude.
Well, you don't have to worry about getting him a cut because he's not here.
A reminder, the only thing that we had to do was stand still, though this weirdo named Zombie Mage, the bastard that took my place originally in the raid roster by the way, took it upon himself to DPS the boss and then not bite anybody. He was removed. Shocker that I was the better mage, and I was literally taking a fat piss to Nightcord smooth jazz. As time went on, Zombie Mage would make himself known to be on the same team as a certain virgin dropout paladin, as this lowly virgin began to harass all the women in the raid for being women. Regardless, after one wipe, we pursued the Blood MILF once more. I do be pumpin' though? As Preachy told us about Zombie Mage's incel behavior, and Midnight began to tell Zombie Mage off, the God King Rally joined the Discord voice chat to advertise an event.
Like, literally, he's like, oh, because you're female, you think you're so great, blah, blah, blah. Like, he's literally just being a toxic piece of shit.
Who is it?
That Zombie Mage. Like, you should see my private messages right now.
So, 2 announcements, guys.
Uninstall the game.
So,
you
2
are bad.
Two announcements for you guys, by the way. Just wanted to get them out really quick. So, tomorrow... tomorrow's going to be a team effort.
Not a good time.
Rally sat defeated as the group continued on in sour spirits, with an incel bombarding us with random unwarranted screams into the abyss. Though, as time would have it, our group proved to be autonomous with shit and capitalized on the weakness of any living thing, that is, its ability to die, and began to desecrate and massacre the Blood MILF without mercy. In the final moments, a call was made for Rally to motivate the group towards victory.
Rally's motivate. Say something positive.
So, tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, guys, gathering up in Ord, Red Hour. Try to not do... By the way, how many of you guys are East Coast?
And with that, we defeated the heroic Crimson Halls of the Vampire Wing. With most of us dead, all of us aware of what was going down tomorrow at 5 o'clock p.m. server time, my Bis necklace now in possession, say grats, and no one sure who was on East Coast, we rezzed and treaded forward to the final wing of Icecrown Citadel, the Frost Wing. Ooh, wow, that's a good name. This place was home to the 2 dragon bosses, or I guess the 1 dragon boss, since the other is a healing boss. Here, let me tell you about it. Right after we skank out and slaughter this Valkyrie. Anyways, on to the next boss. And I use the term boss extremely loosely. Essentially, the healers heal the dragon, and then we win the game. That's the boss. Thanks for watching. We moved onward into the spider-infested halls before the Queen of Frost herself, and cosplayed as CB80 Contact Aerosol, which led to the unfortunate death of many Nerubians. Once outside, we slaughtered the 2 undead frozen dragons, Rhymefang and Spinestalker, before the Frost Queen herself came down from the blue malevolent sky above to wreak havoc on us all, and leave us like the 1,000 English soldiers camped out on April 13th, 1360. Seriously, how did you guys lose to Hail and still think that God was on your side? Blah blah blah. Next boss. One of the best, most well-designed and fucking banging bosses in World of Warcraft. Iconic, seminal, supreme, fucking classical. Sindragosa is a testament of boss design, and for the time, a monument of spectacle. The highest fantasy of high fantasy is always to go one-on-one with a dragon. Whether that means politically, sexually, or violently is up to you. But it most certainly is a desire that one always finds himself having in a fantasy world. And well, before in World of Warcraft, there had been Nefarium and Onyxia, iconic bosses to their own rights. Many whelps, more dots, all that. The sheer extravaganza of Sindragosa goes so far and beyond anything this game has had before, and dare I say, subsequently, in terms of dragon fights, that is. Using the raid members encased in ice to shield yourself from her frost bombs, juggling debuffs and splash attacks, a perfect balance of presentation and playstyle. Sindragosa slaps the king. You know, I even had that Lego knockoff of Sindragosa and Arthas back when I was a kid, which I unfortunately lost. Sindragosa flew from phase to phase, freezing us in place and turning us into bullet sponges, pausing our casting and making us run around like decapitated hydras, getting head from Dulahans. But regardless, her undead frost magic was not enough to best even the worst of us, and we iced her in no time at all. She fell alongside a Bis trinket. Wow, that's so cool. With all 3 wings of the Citadel exterminated, it was on to the final boss. My dream. My wish. It was here where we took a 3-minute break, and I decided to sit with the plastic rune blade from all those years ago. To be fair, I knew not the challenges that faced me when I made Kosher the Mage all that time ago. I knew not the cost I would pay, the friends lost, the stories left untold, the betrayal, the setbacks, and despite it all, I stood at the foot of the frozen throne with no logs to show, no real experience, and only the gold I made from bartering humorous skeleton wordplay. All that time ago, I didn't know what awaited me. I didn't know if victory was carved in stone. I didn't know if the losses were worth it. I didn't know how to feel, but I was confident in one thing. I did know that that stupid little kid who made an undead rogue way back in 2007 would be proud of me. I knew for him, it's all worth it. For him, I'll do anything I can to slay the Lich King. 5 days before my deadline, finally, I stood face to face with the result of my reverie, the big man himself, Arthas, the Lich King. A promising prince who became obsessed with stopping a plague of undeath that ravaged his people. This obsession forced him into chasing the source of said plague, a demon named Mal'Ganis, who hid in the frozen tundras of Northrend. Arthas chased him, and in the tumultuous north found a cursed blade that spoke to him, whispered to him, a blade that the young prince grew to believe would be the only thing powerful enough to slay the demon, stop the plague, and save his people. However, as he mantled the cursed rune blade and slew the demon Mal'Ganis, it was already too late. The whispers replaced all reason in his mind, corrupted him, and when he returned home to Lordaeron, he was already forever changed. Arthas slew his father and ravaged the eastern kingdoms in place of the plague that he once sought to destroy, using his sword Frostmourne to raise the dead. After slaying over 80% of the High Elves and hundreds of thousands of innocents, he raised them as undead to join his army, the Scourge. Arthas listened to his blade and returned to Northrend to take up the crown of Ner'zhul, to forever kill who he once was and become the Lich King. Sat atop the frozen throne, Arthas froze to death and dreamt in his dead slumber, only to be awakened many, many years later, with intent to slay all life on Azeroth and make them join the armies of the Scourge. And here I stood, in a place I knew I did not belong, face to face with him, the fallen Prince of Lordaeron, the corrupted son of King Terenas Menethil II, the final boss of Icecrown Citadel, Arthas, the Lich King. While his story is tragic, beautiful, controversial, and arguably the best written character in Warcraft, the boss fight itself luckily echoes those same values. A masterclass of design, execution, mechanics, storytelling, and the pinnacle of what Warcraft can be. But I'll let the guides handle his mechanics. Instead, let your eyes visually perceive what is about to go down. I took one last glance at the plastic Frostmourne I made nearly 2 decades past, remembered the promise I made to my younger self, and we pulled for the last time as I finally got my chance to slay the Lich King.
Oh, for fuck's sake, save.
We wiped? Is it over?
Yo, son.
I see only darkness.
Eyes up, Warlock.
Huh? Yo, I'm a mage.
Enough!
Suckmaru? Is that you? How are you here? Am I dead?
Suckmaru! I'm a world tree, motherfucker! I dig them druid vibes, good vibrations all around. My tendrils run through the crust of this little world, son. Life exists because of my roots. If any need a breath of it, just say the word and be given life. When one dies, they see me. Some may see me as a god. But I'm a fucking tree, motherfucker.
Yo, look, Mr. Root, we wiped on the Lich King, and I've wanted to slay him for years, for so many years, and we all died, and I don't think we're gonna make it, and...
Suckmaru! Chill the fuck out! Ride the wave! Why you think I was with you all that time, always on that ledge? Watching over you. I sent you into Blackrock Mountain, I sent you past the Dark Portal. I was helping you get that coin to bang out this raid. Why you think I was always healing your ass in dungeons? You think I was a side character or something? Nah. I was your fucking guardian. I'm a tree, fool. Suckmaru! I'm divine intervention itself. I am nature! And you think I'm gonna let your ass wipe on the Lich King after all this time? Fuck no! Suckmaru! I need you to say the word, and I'll bring your asses back to life. I will res you. I will return you to the fight. You think after all this time I'm gonna let you fail here? Your dream will come true. And you need to say the word. All you need to do is say the word.
Say the word, and my dream will come true. Alright. Thank you, my liege. Here goes nothing. Suck my root! Yeah, bitch! Let's fucking go! That's what I'm fucking talking about, dude! Yes! Yes, dude! Oh my fucking god! Holy shit! Fuck yes! There it is! Thank you, Suckmaru! Thank you, Synergy! Thank you, Vietnam! And good night! After many tribulations and tremendous amounts of melodrama, I was finally, kosher, the Kingslayer. As the final days of Wrath of the Lich King Classic ticked by, I mounted my Nether Drake and rode through the Barrens. knowing in a few short days they would be forever changed. Anytime I came across new players, I would give them a few thousand gold and ask them that they please enjoy Classic WoW. After a few hours of mindlessly running around the Barrens and throwing money into the void, I decided to head back to Orgrimmar. I took one final look at the place, sitting at just over 6,000 total gear score, the nether dregs obtained, every goal I yearned for accomplished, in the best guild on the server, and above all else, the Kingslayer title right overhead. It was there, atop the bank, that I logged out of Wrath Classic for the final time. The world would be forever changed when the Cataclysm sunders Azeroth, but that's okay. I've done all that I wanted to do in Classic WoW. I went after every dream I had when I was younger and came out on top. But through the arduous adventure that consumed just over half a year, I learned something. Something that was true 15 years ago and still rings true to this day. World of Warcraft is special in that it brings out the best and worst of a person. It exposes you to who they really are. Manipulators lose their masks and narcissists have the nerve to fucking talk. Going into this adventure, I wanted to have a guild with 5 people, but out of those 5 people that I started with, only I remained. Only I stuck it through. And way back when, in days long past, winter night LAN parties and summer day Mists of Pandaria leveling races with my friends, the fact remained the same, even retrospectively. Among all the people who played with me all those years ago, I am the only one who remained. It's all too often that the people who you start playing World of Warcraft with aren't the people you beat World of Warcraft with, but that's okay. They get sifted through, and new friends are made along the way. And here I sit, Kosher the Kingslayer. Wherever that kid version of me is, long lost in the past, I know that he would be proud of me. Whether I'm impressive to others or not is no matter, for I know for a fact that if that kid version of me saw myself now in Orgrimmar, he would inspect my character with overwhelming awe and think, wow, I want to be that guy. And that is all I ever wanted. As the curtains fall on my tale, I beg you let me leave you with some parting words. If you have any dreams, no matter how small, turn around and run towards them. They aren't going anywhere, but if you're walking away, they're only going to get further from you. It's your choice whether they disappear or not. If there is anything in this world that you want to take a hold of, anything that would make your younger self smile with glee, anything that may bring a very welcome joy into your life, let this be your cue to go for it. Your dreams don't need to be about becoming a celebrity or saving the world. Not everyone has to be the best at this or that. You don't need to be the most motivated person or rich beyond belief. And I hate that it's instilled in us that dreams have to be the biggest things in the world. They don't. Water the smaller seeds, and believe me when I say you'll be bewildered by the flowers that bloom. Maybe there's a game that you never got to beat that has always been in the back of your mind, or maybe there's a book that you never wrote, maybe a friend that you want to reconnect with, or a hobby that you let go of that you'd like to get back into. There is no dream too small and no dream impossible. So go for it. Chase the little things. No matter what people say, they're dreams too, and they deserve to be obtained. And lastly, as the Kosher the Kingslayer saga comes to a close, I bid thee farewell, and hope that you come with me for what I have in store next, and know for a fact that it will be worth it. And until next time, thank you for watching. The end.